Well, we did it. Route 66 from Chicago to LA. 28 days, 4 adults, 1 dog, 1 cat, all in a Winnebago. This video documents our trip in the fall of 2021, and it shares some info and history that I hope you'll find entertaining and helpful too if you're planning a Route 66 trip yourself. Oh, and if you are planning a Route 66 trip, check out the link in the description to visiting66.com. I got a ton of free info on there to help you out, including a Google map with all the places that are in this video and like literally hundreds more things to do and see on Route 66. I think it'll be really handy for you. But this video is all about Route 66 in Missouri, so let's get to it. Route 66 in Missouri takes you right into St. Louis, the gateway to the West. We started off our time in St. Louis with a trip to the Apple store to pick up some new iPhone 13s. But then the real touring started off at the Gateway Arch. You gotta do it. By the way, it used to be called the Jefferson National Expansion Memorial. Weird name. Good move changing it. And here's a fun fact for you. The arch is actually 630 feet tall and 630 feet wide. Weird, it looks way taller. It's some kind of weird illusion, but it's actually like a perfect square. The arch has actually a pretty good museum about westward expansion, which is very appropriate since you're on Route 66, and they talk a little bit about construction and everything like that. It's worth checking out, about an hour or so. You should go up into the arch just so you get to ride in these elevator tram type of things. They're like circular, and as you go up, they rotate and click into position so you're always staying level. It's really cool. And the view from the top is not bad. Pretty cool to look out and see 630 feet above you, and you can actually kind of look down underneath you because the way the windows are angled. It's a little spooky. And you can bet your Clydesdale's butt we went to the Anheuser-Busch factory. Even though they're just a massive corporation now, Anheuser did start in St. Louis in 1852, so they really have a cool history at this place. And the tour is pretty good. You get to check out the Clydesdale stables and learn about the whole brewing process. And of course you get to do some tasting. But at least the day we were there, they just overpacked our tour group and it was just way too many people. So I wouldn't call this a must-see, but it was cool if you're interested in beer. Well, that was it for St. Louis. Like Chicago, you could spend weeks or months exploring this city, but we had to get back on good old Route 66. Our first stop on the road was Ted Drew's Frozen Custard. And holy concrete, this stuff is good. They're called concretes because they're so thick. They even serve them to you upside down. They've got a great old-fashioned building, a killer sign out front, and they've got a massive menu with all the toppings and flavors available to you. I myself got banana with Reese's peanut butter cups mixed in. Highly recommend it. You gotta stop at this place. It's so good. Alright, here's a good story for you. As you're driving near Eureka, you're not really gonna see anything, but this used to be the town of Times Beach. In the 70s, they didn't have paved roads, so they hired a company to come in and oil the roads to control the dust, which was fairly common. But the oil contained dioxin, which is a not good for you toxin. And so the whole town had to evacuate and leave this town as a ghost town. Eventually, the federal government purchased and decontaminated the whole city, and now you're gonna find a nice Route 66 state park there instead. It's an insane story that's easily missed. Hot and cold. They got a sense of humor here. Missouri's actually home to over 6,000 surveyed caves, and you're going to see signs for them everywhere. The most famous is Merrimack Caverns. Unfortunately, we just didn't have time to stop, but you really should. It's a highlight. Next up, you got the Jesse James Wax Museum, which unfortunately for us was closed, but it's just a classic kitschy Route 66 attraction, and they're going to convince you that Jesse James didn't actually die in 1882, but was living under a different name until 1951. Keep an eye out for the Bourbon City Water Tower, which actually got its name when a general store started selling this new brand of whiskey called Bourbon, and the locals just started calling it the Bourbon Store. Then the town of Cuba has got some good sites worth spending some time at. First, stop for some lunch at the Missouri Hick Barbecue. The owner, Dennis Miser, smokes his meat for 12 hours and serves it with a wonderful variety of barbecue sauces. And right next door is the classic Wagon Wheel Motel, built in the 1930s. It's undergone a careful restoration to keep all the important stuff, but also add modern amenities. It's a good old-fashioned mom-and-pop motel worth staying at. Cuba also has the nickname Mural City because there's a bunch of murals all over the city, so be on the lookout for those. We even had a nice lady come up to us and give us a brochure and mural map, which I guess are available at the Cuba Visitor Center. Make a stop at the Hayes Family Shoe Store to check out 2 shoes that belong to Robert Wadlow, the tallest man in the world, at 8 feet 11.1 inches. He's a big boy. And then you have the world's largest rocking chair. Well, actually the world's second largest. There's a bigger one in Illinois, but still, this thing's 42 feet tall and 20 feet wide. And the Fanning Outpost General Store that it's attached to has an excellent selection of soda. Then you have the Uranus Fudge Factory, because who doesn't want fudge directly from Uranus? This is a kooky place. Sure, they have the fudge store, but they also have the world's largest belt buckle in Uranus. They got a double-decker bus, a jail cell, and jokes everywhere. But they also have a great muffler man and a really impressive neon map of Route 66. Then you have the Munger Motel. Built in the 1940s, some of the rooms actually have garages attached. And they have a fantastic red porcelain and neon sign out front. The city of Lebanon houses a great Route 66 museum just for free right inside of their library. They've got life-size recreations of tourist cabins and a diner and a collection of salt and pepper shakers from Route 66 restaurants. It's pretty well done. In Springfield, Missouri in 1947, it was here that Mr. Red Cheney thought it would be easier for customers to drive up and order his hamburgers through a kitchen window, creating the first drive-through eatery in America, Red's Giant Hamburg. And the reason it's called Giant Hamburg as opposed to Giant Hamburger, as you would expect, is a pretty good story. Red, the owner, made his sign in a cross like this, but realized that the sign he made was too tall and would touch the power lines, so he just sawed off the ER in Hamburger. Now, this isn't actually the original Red's. That closed in 1984. This is actually a recreation of the original Route 66 restaurant built by a local barbecue chain owner. But there is a nearby park which does have the original Giant Hamburg sign, which you can check out. There's also a great flagship Steak and Shake, which shows off some of the features of yesteryear, like the neon signs, counter, floor tiles, old booths. It's pretty cool. But honestly, the shake wasn't really that good. Springfield also has a small but helpful visitor center. A bit outside of Springfield is an absolute gem of a stop, Gary's Gay Parita Sinclair. This is actually a recreation of a gas station owned by Fred and Gay Mason from the 1930s. The separate cobblestone garage from 1926 is actually original, but the rest burnt down in 1955. A very, very cool stop. Next up is a strange place called Red Oak 2. A man named Lowell Davis left his hometown, Red Oak, in Illinois, but when he returned, he had found that it had become a ghost town. He was so heartbroken that in 1987, he started moving the buildings from Illinois to Missouri to this place to rebuild his hometown, calling it Red Oak 2. So today it's just this odd simulation of a specific time and place. In Joplin, you could see the apartment where Bonnie and Clyde lived, and this is where they had a shootout, killing 2 police officers before fleeing, but they left behind a camera in their apartment, which is how authorities finally discovered what they looked like. Well, that's it, people. That's all I got for you. That's Route 66 in Missouri. Thanks for watching and being here. But don't you worry, this was only one state out of the whole Route 66 amount of states. We're heading into Kansas next. It's a small state, not much Route 66, but it's a good one. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're looking forward to that video so you know when that comes out. And don't forget to check out visiting66.com for the map, the Google map, with all these places I talked about, plus dozens, hundreds more places to stop. It's amazing. You're gonna love this. Let me know about your Route 66 adventures and places that I maybe have missed and need to hit on my next trip in the comments below. And thanks again for watching. I'll see you in Kansas.